Hey guys, Gary here. Thanks for checking in. Working on a small project with a Sig 365XL. I guess it's an XL. I'm not even sure what you classify it as. But I got this project going and it ended up like this. And I'll do some close-ups here for you. It started its life as a Sig P365. Just the normal old, small, short slide, short frame. And a long time ago, I switched it to the XL frame, and we were just kind of calling it the hybrid before Sig started selling that combination as the X. I liked it because I could keep my irons because the optic plate wasn't connected to the irons on the small one because there was no optic plate, and I wanted iron sights, I wanted big dots, and I needed it to have a dovetail, not some fancy thing with parts and bullshit. So I went with the short slide, and then I put the long frame, ran 12 round magazines, and loved it. And then I get this call. Actually, I guess it was a text well after I'm in bed from Pete at Defiant Munitions, who says, "Bro, the Spectre Comp, it's the one." Oh shit! So I started looking for it. A little salty bit of a price tag on those, like $1,200, $1,300, and unobtainable. Like they didn't exist anywhere. People had them, nobody was selling them. And it was on all the notification lists, just waiting and waiting, had all the local gun shops, keeping an eye out. And I get email one morning, Sig selling the slide by itself. Perfect. So buy the slide, I think it was like $500, and it is just a slide. Came with suppressor, height sights. I ditched those, put the regular Sig sights on that I had taken off one of my other 365s, maybe off of this one, and went to seeing what the Spectre Comp slide was all about. So it is the long recoil system with the short barrel. And the reason being, and I'm sure you've seen it by now, that there's a comp built into the slide, which I really like the idea of. I don't know if it's as effective as a comp on the barrel, just because of the limitations of where they can put material. But I like the fact that it isn't extra weight hanging on the barrel that causes sometimes reliability issues with like range ammo. And let's be honest, I shoot tens of thousands of more rounds of range ammo than I do my pressure self-defensive stuff. So I needed to work with that. Spectre Comp does that marvelously. Now, the question is, does it do much for to recoil? And I wasn't sure. It was steel cased like Winchester. I wasn't positive. Ran some plus P ammo from Defiant Munitions, and I was like, oh, now I feel a difference. And then different random lots of brass case 115 grains. Some felt like there was a difference, some didn't, and I don't know if it was a placebo effect. So I can't really go into like the details of that other than to say it doesn't make it worse, and it doesn't cause any reliability issues, and it plus P, it certainly makes a difference. The great part was I could use the black parts that came on my gun. So there is a black trigger and a black barrel, because I don't have any gold teeth, so I don't need any gold stuff on my gun either. And I like the curved trigger because that's the shape of my finger. Like it's not flat. I guess maybe if I pressed it with the fingernail, I don't know. So I didn't have to replace all that if I had gotten the full gun. What's great about this is, and you can see, I'll show a close up here, you can keep the rear irons regardless of the plate. So even if I put an optic on here, I'll still have backup irons that are on here now. So all in all, I like it a lot, and not saying it's gonna be my next carry gun, but so far so good, knock on wood. I've tried 3 different optics on this, so 2 of one brand, 1 of another, and ended up with my favorite dot, which is the big dot. I still like that more than a red dot. There's a ton of accuracy advantages to a red dot. There is a bunch of features on red dots that I'm not a fan of. Every red dot made that fits this footprint, which is the RMS footprint, has something I don't like about it. And until there's one that I I'm all in on. This gun's not going to get an optic. I have an M&P with an RMS footprint and a MOS Glock for the RMR footprint or whatever plates. So I don't need to put it on this gun. I did make some changes other than just the iron sights, and you'll see here in the close-ups I've added some grit to the frame in places that I wanted. I cut in a gas pedal like I do on my carry gun, and I filled it with some grit. I'm not sure I like it filled in with grit because it doesn't give me a deep a shelf, but it is grippier. I added grip around the mag well. I added grip on the left side where my stranger hand touches the gun with a two-handed grip. I put some real coarse grit on the top for racking off like a pant leg or whatever. The grit on the frame, we experimented with a couple different grits and mixed them together to get one that's real close to the texture of the grip frame. The Spectre Comp complete gun does come with some extra laser stippling, but they just make it like the regular texture a little more coarse, I believe. I think it feels more coarse, but they still don't put it in all the places your hand touches the gun. So I just added it to the places where my hand touches the gun. And then we've been working with this guy. This is the a regular 12-round magazine, and it has a new follower spring and base plate from Mag Guts. And it makes this 12-round mag a 14-round mag. It has the same spring design from like an old Luger. So it's not like it's some new, never been tried thing. And with the follower design and the base plate design, it sticks out about maybe a 1/16 of an inch more than the regular magazine. But what that also does is gives you something to grab onto to yank that puppy out of there if it gets stuck. So I fill that thing with 14 rounds of Defiant 115 grain TCX, which is total copper expanding ammo. And that actually helps with the recoil a little bit because I got 2 more rounds of weight in the gun. But that's the project. It started with a regular 365 and has turned into this Spectre Comp-ish kind of gun. The slide is from the Custom Works, but the rest of the gun wasn't, although it's been customized a bunch. And this is what I consider to be, at this point, like the coolest Sig 365. Like this setup I'm pretty stoked about. And yeah, I've done the pectoral shooting, and like you could talk about the Spectre Comp and how the slide or how the comp works in the slide, but there's like 50 fucking videos out there that you can watch to talk all about that. I just wanted to talk about how this one's different than the one that you can buy and why I like it better. And that's what I got. Take it easy. Alright, so after my last video, I made the best stinger I've ever made. I got hundreds of videos out. Most of them have a after credit stinger. That's called a stinger, in case you're wondering. The last one was so good, it was the only one that I actually felt like I did a good job with, that I'm not going to put one here. But I will put a link to that video if you want to go watch the stinger.